Shalom, giving all praise to YAHAWASHI, QADASH. And Shalom to the hopeful elect out there. I'm going to entitle this video, My Doctrine Shall Drop as the Rain. This is the breath in Ezekiel chapter 37. So what I did was, I'm going to kind of be a little all over the place. And what I did was I just typed in the word doctrine and I read this script. I wanted this scripture. If you type in the word doctrine, the first precept that comes up dealing with the word doctrine or doctrines is Deuteronomy 32, verse 2. And so I said, let me read some of these others. Hey, all these precepts, these first 4 or 5, you know, doctrine is synonymous with the truth. This is the true doctrine. Because it says, where is it? Where did I find it? Okay, it's right here. When you go to it, like the drop down menu, it'll say doctrines of devils. So you have the true doctrine, then you have the doctrine of devils. Let me go to that. Doctrines of devils. Okay, 1 Timothy 4, verse 1. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly. The opposite of express is implied. Like you have, there's certain things that are implied to you that you shouldn't do or you can do. And if they cite you for it, you can say, well, I didn't know there was a law, but in this town, this is how we do things or whatever. That's implied. Expressly, or to express means this is written in stone. So you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure this out, this particular verse right here. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times, we're in the latter times, some shall what? Depart from the faith or the truth. That's why I'm going to deal with this word doctrines of devils, faith, which is synonymous with the true doctrine. If you're of this faith, you're going to teach the true doctrine. And part of the true doctrine is the MOTB, is what we say it is here at GMS. And we talk about it so much is because that's coming right. Look, don't be surprised if they introduce it to you on a small level this year. If not this year, then next year. Because now they're moving fast. The Lord said, I beheld Satan fall as lightning to the earth. So everything's speeding up now. It says giving heed, following to seducing spirits and doctrines of what? Of devils. Now let me see, let me do this. Let me go to 2 Corinthians. I believe it's 6. All right, 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. Now you might use this and say, well, if you have a wife that's an unbeliever, you got to cut her off. No, you can have an unbelieving wife. pursuant to the Apostle Paul. This is Apostle Paul speaking. 2 Corinthians, and the Apostle Paul also said in 1 Corinthians, you can have a wife that's an unbeliever. So why would he speak out of two sides of his mouth? Because it ain't talking about your wife. You can have a wife. Matter of fact, for that case, you can have children that don't believe and still live in your household, and they may be saved. Because when all hell breaks loose, they will become believers. These people, your wives that don't believe, and you tell them about the MOTB and you know who Esau is, and it may go into one ear and out the other, and they overhear you. You might be doing a video, you might be watching YouTube videos of other men in the truth, and you know, you may comment, and you may go out to work, and she goes into your computer, and she sees all this stuff dealing with Israel. That's building her up. So when they introduce the world to the MOTB, there's going to be a major shaking among the Israelites and among these different camps. There's going to be a sense of urgency. This is why we always speak about it, because they could introduce it to you this year, 2023. Hopeful year of all prophecies. YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, bringing all prophecies to pass. I'm merely paraphrasing. It says, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. That's talking about people that don't believe. And that's by nature. You have people that you grew up with, that you had friendships with. You might have gone to the club, might have watched a game, you hang out with your people, and then you come into this truth, and then you don't just break them off, but you should. That's what you should. You just cut them off. But you can still kind of be cool with them, because the hopes is that they come into this too. So you might even pull them to the side and tell them that you're an Israelite, but then eventually you'll slowly get away from them. Like all my friends I grew up with, I slowly got away from them. I didn't hang out with them no more because I was in the truth. And then you develop friendships with guys from different walks of life. You become friends to a lot of them, you know? It says, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. Remember, the Apostle Paul said, he made the statement, my yoke fellows, because you're working for the Most High. You're not working for yourself. You're working for the Most High. So the Most High says, the Most High speaks about being instant in season, out of season. The Most High speaks on not turning your back on the plow. The Most High speaks through the scriptures, speaks about giving diligence through Peter, giving diligence to make that calling and election sure. The Apostle Paul said that ye all show the same diligence. And so that's what Paul meant by my yoke fellow. If the yoke is put on oxen, and they yoke them together, when you plow the land, you take an ox and another ox, and you put a yoke on their necks, and then you get another two oxes, and you put yokes on their neck. So how the oxes work in pairs. So that's what Paul was saying. You in this work, but the work, we're not plowing the land. We're plowing the truth, so to speak. You're breaking up the fallow ground, and you're planting seeds. And how do we plant seeds? When we do these videos. It says, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers, for what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness? This is why we don't deal with Sarnetta. You got Captain Tazariak dealing with Sarnetta, and then he had a little thing going with WAC 100, and that kind of went downhill. I don't know the backwards. I don't know if they talked to each other, but they were. And what happened? WAC 100 said, well, I forget exactly what he said. You got to go back maybe 2 months or so. but he kind of questioned it. Like I said, you got to go back and watch it. I don't know I forget all the details. So what Captain Tazariak did, he was trying to push the truth, and really he didn't see the truth the way Captain Tazariak saw it, and now he keeps dealing with Sarnetta, and Sarnetta, even though he's pushing out there for other people, but ain't too many people gonna come to this from this that's been following Sarnetta. And what it does is, when you teach this truth on Sarnetta's platform, it's a bunch of different thoughts, Kemetic and scientists and Hebrew Israelites and the Moors and Islam, and then you even have disagreements among the Kemetic community. So they have debates among themselves. So what you do is you're just putting all these different, thoughts, ways of thinking into like a box and shaking it up for people to say, okay, I think I'll be a Hebrew Israelite. And then 2 years later, I don't want to be a Hebrew Israelite. Now I want to be a Kemetic, or now I want to be a Moor or Islamic or whatever. So what you do, you enter the truth into the box of confusion. And I don't see any of those people that started with Sarnetta and the Kemetic community and so forth that say, well, I'm going to be a Hebrew Israelite. You see, so we separate ourselves from that, because the Most High is only dealing with the elect. The Most High is not dealing with, the Most High never told us you have to wake up all the Israelites. It's about waking up Israel. No, it's not. It's about waking up the elect of Israel, because the only ones that will be saved are the elect of Israel. Now, while you're waking up the elect, you're not waking up anything. It's the Most High that wakes them up. But the Most High uses the foolishness of preaching for you to say things and for the elect to hear it, and the Most High to initiate or ignite his mind to get into the truth. That's how the Most High set it up. That's in Romans 10, verse 13 on down. Speaks about the teachers, the preachers. It says, "And what communion have light with darkness?" Anything that's not of the truth is of darkness. Even the Israelite groups out there, if they're teaching opposite of what we're teaching about the MOTB, they're still in darkness. They're still in darkness. They haven't received the full breath. And what concord have the Messiah with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with the unbeliever infidel? And what agreement have the temple of the Most High with idols? So the temple of the Most High represents the body of the elect, the believers, the hopeful elect. This is why we don't have unity camps with other camps, because in order for you to have a unity camp, you must have what? Unity. You must all teach the same thing. If you got 3 camps out there, they got a unity camp. One camp teaches that Edomites can make it, and another camp, the other 2 don't agree with that. Why would you have a camp with them? If one camp teaches that the MOTB is an embargo or sin, why would you commune with them at all? Because if the one guy comes up and somebody asks a question about the MOTB and he starts going into all that sin, well, you're hearing it, right? That's what is that? Leviticus 5. And you're supposed to defend the gospel. You're supposed to come up and say, no, you're going off. So that'll correct. You can't be politically correct in its truth. It said, "And what agreement have the temple of the Most High with idols? For ye are the temple of the living power. As the Most High have said, I will dwell in them." The them are the elect. The them are not Israel. If anybody says, well, the Most High is dwelling in all Israel, He's really not. He's dwelling in the souls and the spirits of the elect. Now, don't get me wrong, all Israelites have a consciousness of the fact that there's the Most High in them, but the Most High hasn't initiated them to wake up, because if the Most High did that, they would wake up. They would join a camp. They would go out speaking, and so forth, and walk in them, and I will be their power, and they shall be my people. Who shall be the Most High's people? The elect, not all Israel. So another is an Israelite, but he's not of the elect. It says, wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith Yahweh, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you, and will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Most High Almighty. Okay, so now let's come back over here to the word doctrine. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me do this. Let me put in the word doctrine again. Doctrine. So I'm just going to read some of these precepts. I made it easy for myself. Deuteronomy 32, verse 2. Sometimes you take a key word and you just read them precepts. Deuteronomy 32, verse 2. Matter of fact, let me go to 1. Give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak, and hear, O ye earth, the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew. See, there's no way you can take grass, like a field of grass. You know, you have acres of grass. There's no rain. It hasn't rained in a week or 2 weeks. But in the morning, that grass has a dew on it, which is moisture to keep the grass growing. It needs sun and needs moisture, it needs water. So before the flood, there was no such thing as rain. So when Noah, Nawak, which means comforter, when he built the ark, they were laughing at him. He was preaching for over 120 years. Talk about patience. And they laughed at him and mocked him. And the doors were shut and they couldn't get in because the rain came, and they never experienced rain. All they had was the dew. So now when it rains, it covers everything. That's why when it rains, you ain't got an umbrella. Umbrellas, inside joke. I had to say that. I know Barn Apostle Ramlob is cracking up. But when it rains, what do? You run into a building, you hurry up and get into your car. You know, if it's raining real hard, you're on the highway, you go on the underpath and you just sit there until the rain kind of slows down. Because you're gonna be drenched, even with the umbrella. You pull out the umbrella, you're gonna get wet before you open up the umbrella. And then sometimes the rain is hard enough, it'll still wet the bottom of your pants. So this truth, this doctrine is like rain. It covers everything. And you can't hide from it. It said, my doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew. So the water's coming up from under you. You got an umbrella, but you put your shoes in the bottom of your pants, your socks get drenched. So that's what this truth is. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And see, this guy, Vocab Malone, he's fighting a losing battle. You know, he recently did and I'll probably go into that too, which I intended to. The newest video he put up is on this individual that was trained in, I believe he was trained in the seminary. But now he's teaching that we're the Israelites. But he's calling on the name of Yah and Yahshua. And there was a big thing on him. I'll get into it in a minute. And there's a paper, something J paper, which is a Jewish-owned paper. They're pretty much getting on him, and they're saying that this. I'll get into it. So this is scaring these people. That's what they're talking about. That's what these people, these small hats, we call them. That a lot of them are talking about this. You know, you got the Southern Poverty Law Center now. They're in the news for one of their lawyers getting caught up in that the cop city that they're building in Atlanta. He was, because these guys are infiltrators, man. So they've been exposed, you know. It said, "For thou has said, my doctrine is pure." My doctrine is pure. If you're teaching that Edomites can make it, your doctrine is adulterated. It's no longer pure. If you're teaching that the new moon is the full moon, your doctrine is not pure. If you're teaching the Lord never performed miracles, your doctrine is not pure. And I am clean in thine eyes. For thou hast said, my doctrine is pure, and I am clean in thine eyes. For I give you good doctrine, forsake ye not my law. And when you come into this truth, you even start keeping the laws. There's not a big emphasis on the laws when you first come in, but as you grow in this thing, but there's certain laws unto death. So one of the things that you should tell people, well, don't be messing with another man's wife. And then don't eat pork. Those are the basic laws. And then you have to grow a beard. And it might take 6 months for them to start growing a beard. They might work at a particular job. They might be working with FedEx or what is it, UPS, you know, and it's required that you got to cut your beard off. I don't know why. You know, what does that have to do with anything? But a lot of those companies, they say, you got to cut your beard. So if you're working at that job and you really want to come into this truth, you gotta leave that job. There's other jobs out there. If you want to fully come into this truth, because there's certain jobs where they say you got to be clean shaven. Ain't no way you're gonna come, you know, you studying the scriptures, you want to come to the camp. We don't even want you in the audience, man. If you clean shaven, that's the way of the heathen. Hey, long hair, men having long hair is the way of the heathen. That goes back to the Athenians and the Spartans, the young Spartans. They had the braids, the long hair, and that's why the Apostle Paul got on them, because all those young men, or I say all of those men, when he would gather them together to teach them, they would come among the congregation with long hair. So Paul cursed them out. He said, "Man, you can't be walking around with long hair. Women can have long hair, not you men. It's a shame for a man to have long hair." It says, whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? There it goes again, doctrine. Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. But prior to you being weaned from the milk, when you're a child, you suck on your mother's titty, right? You can't eat a steak. Now, to show you that these guys, these other Israelite groups, are still on the milk sucking the titty, is when they receive a piece of meat, they choked on it. Number one, well, the MOTB for the most part, and the grape doctrine. They still bring it up. Even the Parsha Dar even said that yes, it doesn't mean rape. And this coming from a grape. This is coming from a woman. And some of them are kind of seeing it, but most of them don't. And they'll do it if they want to get back at all of them. Wi-Fi did it, and IUIC. They'll come up. They said, "Well, what about the grape? You guys are this guy Bishop Jessup, that dude of the One Body in Yahawashi." He said, "You guys go around raping women." He said that we're actually doing it. The Bishop Nate said that. He went down to, I believe, Jamaica, and he said they're raping women. And that's, they better be careful when they say that, because we can get litigations with them. So anyway, it says, they also that erred in spirit shall come to understand, and they that murmured shall learn what? Doctrine. So murmur means to scoff. We don't get that many, we don't get scoffers like we used to get, because they begin to see the truth. Oh, that's a good one. Jeremiah 10:8. But they are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of what? Of vanities. It's vain. Matthew 7, verse 28. And it came to pass when our Lord Yahawashi, and part of our doctrine is when you see this word Jesus, you say Yahawashi, had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine, which is the doctrine of the Most High. Okay, so I want to show you something now. Well, let me see. A vocab. Okay, this is the newest one. Okay, where is it? I gotta find it. I don't know if it's taken down or. Bear me for 1 minute. Okay, let me try it live again. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Okay, teacher on leave for teaching anti-Semitic. So this is what I want to do, and you can watch the the video. But what I did was went to the actual article. And I went to this guy's page. What is his name? Ben's something. He has a YouTube page. Doesn't have many hits on it, views. Teacher who, and so if you watch the video, Vocab goes into this guy. He's a teacher who signs anti-Semitic texts, preaches controversial Hebrew Israelite doctrine. So we'll read from it. This is from the Jewish News of Northern California. Okay, his name is Henry Benz. Henry Benz Jr., the English teacher who was placed on administrative leave by the Haywood Unified School District. So he's an actual teacher, certified teacher, this week after Jay, which is the magazine, reported that he had assigned an anti-Sem text to students and repeatedly made Heil Hitler salutes in class, which that was going on. They can get rid of him because of that, you know. Has a second calling as a pastor. Like I said, if you watch the video that Vocab that he reads from the article, each week at congregation. Now, if you go to congregation Rehoboth, you have an actual congregation that's controlled by the small hats, but then you have his page would be his name. Give me a second. Bring it back on. Henry Benz. I believe that's the name that it's under. Benz something. A prominently African American church in Alameda, which is on the West Coast. Benz gives sermons and teaches Bible study classes, but he is not delivering mainstream Christian homilies. AJ review of the more than 40 sermons and classes that were available on his YouTube channel. Let me click on that. Okay, they even got the. So this is the guy, Henry Benz. Let me see when he came on the scene. Okay, he'd been on the scene for he had this page up way back in 2007. They're talking about 15 years. Okay, so this is him. This is 6 years ago, 6 years ago. My take 49ers versus Cowboys. My take my take Dallas Cowboys are accident waiting to happen. So this has nothing to do with yeah, it's mother. Give me a second here. Give me a second. So you go back 6 years, he wasn't speaking, going into the whole the Hebrew thing. So as of recently, maybe a year ago, I don't know. Let me check. Let me check. And we don't know if he's a SPY. Okay, so this site only goes back to a year. Okay, so the first video he did recently is a year ago, but then you got to go back 6 years to catch his other videos. It says how to study scripture. So he went from the Cowboys and the 49ers to how to study scripture to I'm an Israelite, and these other people are not Israelites. They, I'm surprised Vocab said, oh, this guy's a member GMS or IUIC or ISCPK. I'm pretty sure he watched some of our videos. But this is like a threat. This is like a spiritual threat, not a physical threat, but a spiritual threat to these people. That's why they're speaking on it. Come back over here. So they even give you his YouTube channel, putting a spotlight on this guy. It says AJ review of the more than 40 sermons and classes that were available on his YouTube channel as of Friday morning reveals that Benz, which is his name, has been heavily influenced by Black Israel. It says Israelism. That's a word that Vocab has been using. I don't know if Vocab got in contact with these people. I don't know if he gets a paycheck from these people. I don't know. But this, the only other time I heard the term Israelism is by Vocab. We don't know how deep Vocab goes. We don't know who set him up, and we don't believe he's just doing this on his own. Matter of fact, he said that in one tape years ago. He said I was set up by. I'm putting words in his mouth. I'm not saying it exactly. I'm merely paraphrasing. I was set up by my leadership to investigate the Black Hebrew Israelites, Israelism. So he's not working on his own based upon that video. Somebody can find that video. It's an old video when he was real young and skinny before he had the beard. It says the spiritual movement grounded in the idea that Black people are the authentic genealogical descendants of the ancient Israelites. So how does that make us anti-Sem? Because Sem is not even a word. It's supposed to be Shem, Shemitic. Now, when you look up the word Semitic, it'll go right to them people. That's why they took the H out. So they knew what they were doing. But they'll call this right here, us calling ourselves the descendants of the Israelites, ancient Israelites. They'll say that's anti-Semitic. That's true. You just don't accept it. Hebrew Israelites, often referred to as Black Hebrew Israelites, though they do not call themselves right, because every time Vocab would say BHI, we would say we're not Black. And then we would show videos of Israelites that look blonde hair and blue eyed, looking like white people, Latino people. Now they refer to the NOI as the Black, what do they call it? Black Islam or whatever they called it, because you had mostly Black people. But what we have, deal with all the major camps that come out of One West. You'll see a dark skinned guy, then right next to him you'll see somebody that might be Puerto Rican or Colombian or Mexican, looking different from a so-called African American. So they can't say that no more. So it says Hebrew Israelites, often referred to as Black Hebrew Israelites. That's your term. Though they do not call themselves by this term, and not all are Black, have received intense media attention. Let me click on that. You see? And that's from the same paper. And I remember when this first came out some months ago. But this is what the different interviews that Ye did and Kyrie did. It says, how many Hebrew Israelites are there and how worried should Jews be? How fearful should we be? I'm not going to read the article. So you see these individuals, they lined up right, cutting off their hair. You can come with whatever hairstyle you want to come with. You know, you got some guys with high end tights. Some of them they have long braids. One of them don't even have a beard, but he's young. And I don't know. I don't know what's in these guys' mind. I don't know how deep these brothers are. You know, that's why they call this a cultic. When you do stuff like that, it brings fear out. I mean, they're not breaking the law. But like I said in the beginning of this video, this is all about the elect. We speak and elect hears it, and the Most High, we say a few words, they listen, then the Most High activates their brain, initiates them, you know? So let's come back over here. Okay, in recent months have two black celebrities, and YAHAWASHI used Ye and Kyrie Irving to push this truth further. Because Ye didn't mention the 411 Westers. They didn't mention the IUIC. They didn't mention ISCPK. They didn't mention LOI, HODC, GMS, Sakari. They didn't mention any of them. But immediately the attention pretty much went from Ye and Kyrie to us. And you know, the Bishop Nathan Nathaniel, he jumped on it. He took the opportunity and jumped on it. But if you notice, Ye ain't doing no more deals. He did it. He was all on different shows for about a month. There was a big thing with Kyrie. But now he's traded. He's under Mark Cuban, which he's a small hat out there in Texas. So Kyrie ain't nobody talking about Kyrie no more. Kyrie ain't all that important. You know, they put him in his place. But what it did was it pushed us out there even more, gave more of an interest. And see, they're going to act on it because they're scared. It says it in their article. Let me bring it back. Bring it back. How many Hebrew Israelites are there, and how worried should Jews be? Yeah, because you're being exposed for not being the people. Now, can some of you be those people? Of course, because we were scattered and mingled throughout all the nations. So you're gonna have some of the Israelites that are even a part of the elect that look like you. So we don't have a problem saying that. It says shared some of the more controversial elements of Israelite doctrine with their millions of social media followers. We don't believe in Jewish religion. Bend of 52, that's a guy that Vocab did a recent video on. He said during a Bible class he gave on November 8th, so this was recently, a couple of months ago, there's no such thing in the Bible as Jewish religion. He went on to say that Jewish people are simply acting like Jews, but are not, in fact, Jews. During the sermon on October 29th, he shared the debunked theory about Ashkenazi Jews are descendants of Kazakhs and Turkic people who converted to Judaism. Well, the fact is that a lot of people converted to what they call Judaism. Doesn't make you an Israelite. If you go to the book of Esther, the 8th chapter tells you that. So many of the people became Jews. And that word there is Judaized. And claimed that there was a conspiracy to prevent black people from knowing their true identity. Well, if you're going around saying that you're somebody and the real people are out there and you're an imposter, you have to do two things. You have to say you're those people, and then you got to silence the people that say that they are the real people. I believe not only have we, and they may even cut my video because I said the car word lost our identity because, and I'm reading from their paper, from their their page, because we have not kept holiness, but there is a cover up that I'm uncovering. He told the congregation, I'm uncovering it. Join me in the uncovering. Uncovering it. Ben often referred to black people as so-called blacks, and in December of, I guess it's 2022 class, he said he finds the term African American to be offensive. But anyway, you can read the rest of the article. Okay, down here, they go into, in the same class, Ben's cited the 28th chapter, Deuteronomy. Now, where did all these groups, Israelite groups, get the whole idea of the Deuteronomy 28? From the former one Westers. A key text in Black Israelism, the chapter contains a list of curses. Okay, they even go into Ben shared the cover art for Hebrew to Negroes, Wake Up Black America, with this guy, Ron Dalton, which I believe he followed us. He came on the scene. He went from being a Pentecostal, and his father was a preacher. I believe he was a preacher or whatever, a pastor. And in 2011, that's when Ronald Dalton Jr. came on the scene. But he's off. He's off. He thinks all the Israelites are of African descent. So he's way off. He says that you're crazy if you follow any Israelite teachers that teach about UFOs. So he's on a low level. Okay, so now where are we? Okay. And see, at the end of the day, this is the fulfillment of Ezekiel. I'm not going to read the whole chapter, 37. Vision of the valley of dry bones. That's the valley is America, lowland. The vision explained. Let me take this word out. So when you read from the first verse to the 10th verse, it talks about these dry bones, and these dry bones getting up and sinew and it being covered. And then the understanding is 11th verse. Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say our bones are dried and our hope is lost. We are cut off from our parts. And that's where the 12 tribe sign comes in. That's where the 12 tribe sign comes in. There's no evidence of Ezekiel carrying around a 12 tribe sign. That was for us today. That's not for the Old Testament Hebrews, Jakes. That's for the former one Western. We all carry around that 12 tribe sign. Now, even Shikari, they said pretty much F-R-E-R. Now it's Ariah is alive. It was somebody put it out there, and I jumped on it. So, but I didn't lie about it. I just went by what was said. Enough people said it. But these camps that came out of One West, they all got the 12 tribe sign. They're not going to knock that. And that includes Sakari, because I believe they still do carry the 12 tribe sign, but they said he blasphemed the Holy Spirit. And that's between him and the Most High. And what does the unforgiveness means? That means, are you going to burn the lake of fire? The Sakari teaching that there's a lake of fire now, like Bishop Nate. So that sign, that's a spiritual sign. That sign was set up to fulfill Ezekiel 37, verse 16. So anybody tell you that this means something else, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. I was gonna go into the word the truth, but let me do this. Let me just try this. Ezekiel 37 and 1. And I'm gonna say this real quick. All you individuals that were part of this, the One West in the past, that fell out, that went back into the world, you're gonna suffer the same. Number one, you're gonna take the karagma. Every last one of you that fell out, a lot of y'all fell out when King Marshall died. A lot of y'all fell out after where am I? I think I X'd that out. Let me bring that back up. Bear me for a minute. Bear me for a minute. Okay, let me do it this way. Come on now. Commentary. Let's see what the commentary says. I'm looking for Bible Hub because I'm familiar with the Bible Hub. Okay, got the Bible Hub. Let me see what they say about this. Oh, let's try Ellicott's. In the midst of the valley, the word is the same. Ezekiel 3:22, Ezekiel 8:4. Having the definite article prefix is very probably the same, blah, 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 which was full of bones. Let's see what they say about this. You know what I'm going to do? Okay, you got Israel. Okay, good, good. Let's go to Cambridge. Cambridge Bible for schools and colleges. The hand of Yahawah, the prophetic ecstasy from the Lord. Ezekiel 1 and 3. The word of the Lord came expressly to Ezekiel, the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans, Babylonian captivity, by the river Chebar, and the hand of Yahawah was there on him. On spirit of the Lord, Ezekiel 3, verse 14. Ezekiel 8, verse 3. Ezekiel 9, verse 24. The valley is probably that mentioned early in the book Ezekiel 3 and 22. And the hand of Yahawah was there on me, and he said to me, arise, go forth into the plain. Plain is another word for valley, and I will there talk with you. The vision of Israel's resurrection from the dead. You notice it didn't say the vision of Judah, it says the vision of Israel. There's no record of the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom coming back. So what is it talking about? It says Hosea shows familiarity with the idea of the raising again of individuals. This is not what is prophesied. Isaiah 26, verse 19, your dead men shall live together with my dead body. Shall they arise? I can hardly see this. Awake and sing. Oh, the singing is teach his word. We're waking up and we're singing his word. The cry was at midnight, there was a cry heard, and that cry was singing. So we're singing our asses off. You that dwell in the dust, that's in this condition that we're in. For your dew is as the dew of herbs. Herbs, what does an herb do? It heals you, brings you back to life. And the earth shall cast out the dead. Daniel 12. Oh, beautiful. Daniel 12, the actual resurrection of individual members of Israel is predicted. Beautiful. That's why I go to these commentaries, because they're hit or miss. So now it says, Job 14, verse 13. It says, oh, that you would hide me in the grave, that you would keep me secret until your wrath be past. And ultimately that wrath is destruction, that you would appoint me a set time and remember me. So what is Job saying? He's saying, man, he saw this destruction. If you go to like Job 20, for example, he saw his destruction. He saw visions. Job was a prophet. And Job said, look, make sure I'm dead when this thing happens. And after the smoke clears, you can wake me back up. That's what he meant by that. So at least they're telling the truth. So anyway, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to, well, let me do this. I'm all over the place, but that's all right too. There's lessons within lessons. I put in top 10 smartest cities in the world. And there's one, I believe it's in Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken. I was checking it out earlier on my other computer, but it says the top 10 smart cities in the world. When you go into the smart cities, they're also known as 15-minute cities or 15, 20-minute cities, which means wherever you live, you will not be able to go out of that cipher, that circle, past 15, 20 minutes, a walking distance now, because everything is going to be there for you. Like if you notice, anywhere you go in this country, a BJ's or a Costco's or a Best Buy's, it is within 15, 20 minutes of yourself. If you've been noticing a lot of construction going on where you live, they'll do one part of construction, then they'll go to another part of the town. They're getting the infrastructure ready for the smart cities. And what I'll do is I'll do that afterwards. But anyway, it says the top 10 smart cities in the world. Number one is Singapore. There's a lot of multimillionaires and billionaires out there in Singapore. Singapore was elected the smartest city in the world. And smart meaning what? There's a picture of a smart city. Everything is connected to the web, the IoT, the Internet of Things. That's why you have the 5G, because you need 5G, 6G. Singapore was elected the smartest city in the world. Helsinki, which is in Finland, the capital of Finland, became the second smartest city in the world. Zurich, Auckland, that's New Zealand, Oslo, Copenhagen, Geneva, Switzerland, Taipei. So these are the models here. And if you're a part of a 15-minute city or a smart city, how are you going to buy and sell? You're going to buy and sell digitally. Look at that. You got a plane and you got this. This represents, Wi-Fi, or which is the internet. You got your shopping. You got the symbol for Wi-Fi. That's what makes the city smart. I'm gonna read a little bit into this. Why do we need smart cities? Let's see what this says. The Department of Economic and Social Affairs of the United Nations predicted that 68% of the world's population live in urban areas. Because smart city is also an urban area where you have businesses and housing, examples of smart city technology. Right, part of the Internet of all things, the IoT. As a matter of fact, it's right there, IoT. Internet of Things, IoT. Part of it is driverless cars, because they're going to have sensors all over the place. 5G and 6G. So it says examples of smart city technology. I'm changing gears. In a smart city, modern technologies from the areas of energy, mobility, your cars, urban planning, administration, and communications. We communicate with the smartphones, are network with each other. You're right, the IoT, the Internet of all things. And ultimately, what's in your all the apps that are in your smartphone is going to go into your body. That's what the head guy of president CEO of Nokia said that at the last World Economic Forum. He said that all this technology is going to go into your body. That's what he said. Somebody didn't put a video up on that, but if you do some searching, you'll find him actually saying it. This is why we keep talking about it. It says network with each other so that the data is Greek for information, collected helps to better decision making and improve certain. And I'm going to work with AI, artificial intelligence, certain aspects of the equality of life. So ultimately, if you're part of a smart city, you will ultimately have to get a Karagma. The driving force behind smart cities are trends such as a machine learning, which is AI, automation, the Internet of Things, robotics, AI, autonomous vehicles, meaning cars that drive themselves. See the picture? In theory, any part of a city can be incorporated into a smart city initiative. However, what now? It's in Zurich and Copenhagen and Taipei and Singapore, because them people are not the people of the Lord. So they're gonna take it. They're gonna take that the Karagma with no problem. It says what all smart initiatives and applications have in common is that they require robust security and privacy services when gathering and analyzing data information for better informed decision making. The buying and selling is going to be based upon, it's going to be a digital, which we now know is called CBDC, central bank digital currency. So that's what you're going to buy and sell with. No more, the paper dollar is going to be done away with. So you see this, you see this picture right here, right? I'm trying to find where the bank is. See, that's your smartphone. Ultimately, is going to be put into your body. Singapore is like the model. Anyway, you know what? With that, I'm gonna say shalom.